Hello, 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 everyone. This is Tanika Steens, and I am the Mindful Coach. And tonight, my guest is Sarah Ann. She is a sales and marketing strategist who previously was declared mentally disabled, but she is now fully cured of bipolar and borderline personality disorder. This guest is very special to me tonight because when I saw her profile on Facebook and I read her posts and her backgrounds, I just felt compelled to hear her story. And I immediately was able to resonate with a lot of things that she was saying. And I felt like there was someone else that needed to hear from this young lady and know that wherever they are in their life, that if she can do this, then there is hope for you as well. So I asked her if she would come on, and without hesitation, she got back with me, and she's here today. Her name is Sarah Ann. She's a beautiful young lady, and she is not only bettering herself, but she is in the business of bettering others. So tonight, she's going to talk to us and share with us some of her secret sauce on how she got to be the person that she is today. So without further ado, Sarah, and thank you for being here today. I appreciate you taking the time out. Let us know who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Thank you. I'm so appreciative of being here, and I mean I love that you led that with giving hope to people where they are, because what I do sales and marketing training, and so it's got nothing to do with what it was that drew you to me. What it was that drew you to me was my story around bipolar and borderline personality disorder, and I share that story not because it has anything to do with my business, but for the exact reason that you just said, is because I want to give hope to people who are otherwise don't have any, right? Like you're told that you're incurable, there is nothing that can be done, whatever it may be. And I cop a lot of slack sometimes for sharing this. I get a lot of angry comments saying that that's not true, you can't do that, that's blah, blah, blah. But I also know that for every person who refuses to believe that there's a way out, there's someone else desperately looking for a way out and looking for someone to give them that hope, which is the exact reason that I share that story. And so I'm super stoked that you kind of just led with that. I have no idea where this is going to go, but I'm excited to be here, so thank you.
You are so welcome. And again, the thing is, people that are in business, I think people look at on the outside, look at people that are in business and think that they just woke up one day and appeared in this business and everything is all roses, right? It doesn't work that way. 9 times out of 10, us regular people, I like to say, find ourselves in these entrepreneurial situations because of something that we've been through. And we understand what it looks like. And that brings a need about and helps to bring change. And so your story has everything to do with what you're doing. And I believe it goes hand in hand because I was looking at your page because of the strategy and marketing, but that's not what drew me in. What drew me in is the fact that who you are, where you've been, and how you came to be where you are. That says something about strength and power within a person. And that's what I connected with. Because what it helped me to understand is it doesn't matter where you are in life, you could be anywhere, but you don't have to stay in that place if it's not a place that you don't want to be. But it takes you to get yourself from that place. And so if you would, I mean, and again, I told you sometimes these conversations start in one way and go another, but I guess this is where we're going with it. But feel free to do whatever you like. But if you would just kind of talk to us about how you moved from one place to how you did end up where you are, because I know there's a strategic marketing person out there that is awesome and is just stuck right now because they don't think that they have it in them to do what it is that needs to be done.
Yeah, that's that's like a big question, right? Like, how did you go from there to here? There to here. So I mean, like, I think the first step for anything, no matter whether it be like with my mental challenges, like and I've had not just a lot of mental health challenges, I've had a lot of physical health challenges. And then when I started the business, I struggled. I actually struggled as a sales trainer. I had been very successful training in the corporate I'd started in MLM, I'd grown an MLM, then I'd moved to corporate, I'd moved to selling timeshare, had ticket stuff, went to phone sales, I trained some of the largest corporations in the world, made like systems and stuff for some really huge companies, and I thought, oh, I'll start my own business and I'm so good at sales. Like, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I was really good at this. And so I thought it'll be easy. And I didn't sign a client for over a year, and it was not easy. And I was like, that was hurting my ego a little bit. But whether it be starting a business and you're stuck starting a business, or you just keep encountering health problem after health problem, or you are really in the trenches with a really severe mental health problem, whether it may be like bipolar, depression, whatever, the first thing that I have noticed with every single one of my successes is that they all started with a belief that I can do better, I can be better, I can have better, I can create better, but I have to do it myself, right? Like, it all started with that belief. With the bipolar and the borderline personality disorder, I was told that I was incurable. I was told that I was mentally disabled, that I needed to go and to get a disability pension because this human being couldn't work a normal 9 to 5. And to be fair, that was a fairly accurate assumption. I had huge, huge emotional breakdowns every single day. Now, I don't just I'm sobbing into a pillow. I mean, on a daily basis, I would be banging my head on the concrete floor. I would be screaming. I would be punching things. I would be rocking back and forth and shaking daily. I was literally like psychotic. And so it wasn't really far-fetched to go, you freaking loony, get a pension. There's no way you can hold down a job, right? But even with that, what was I coming back to? Like, the first step, right, was even though I was told there's nothing that can be done. The doctor says nothing can be done. No one thought anything could be done. I still believed that there was something that could be done. And so I think whatever you're going through at the moment, right, to initiate the catalyst for that transformation is to start with the belief that you can change it. And then from there, right, like, what are you filling your head with? And this is super, super powerful in business as well. Even if you're just an ordinary person with no huge, huge challenges, you're not totally on struggle street, life is okay, but you want to be better. What are you filling your head with? And when you're first getting started, like, I grew up in a low socioeconomic area. My parents are okay, like, they're middle class. We weren't struggling, but we have food on the table and whatnot. But the area was mostly people that were in housing commissions, so like government subsidized housing. There was a lot of drugs around, a lot of abuse. It wasn't like a nice kind of area, and so there wasn't a lot of voices around me that were like, you can have a beautiful, happy, prosperous life. These were toxic relationships, fights, drugs, violence on the streets around me. Like, that's what I was seeing. And so the only things that I had available to me to fill my head with better voices were books. So books and YouTube, and I didn't do podcasts back then, right? But I just took in all this content that told me life could be better, and I just refused to allow other shit into my head that said otherwise. And so I think those are the two first kind of key things if you're looking to really make a transformation, right? Like, really make a change in whatever aspect that may be.
Absolutely. And so I know when you are first starting out in a business, it can be tough. But not only that, mixed with other things going on with you, it can be very challenging. And so to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to not listen to what people say. I'm not going to try to do what others are doing. I'm going to try to figure this thing out and keep on going. Sometimes we get caught up in the fact that we're not doing as good as others. And like you said, the first year you didn't make a sale. Well, you know what? That's great, because some people don't make a sale in 5 years, and they don't, and people don't get that. They think that, well, when I start off, I'm supposed to just hit the ground running and do really good. And if I don't have this, then it's not going to work. But it takes time. So would you talk a little bit about, developing that process and what that looks like?
Yeah, I like that. When you say that process, do you mean the process of building out the business, or? Yeah, sweet.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
So I like that you mentioned that. Like some people don't do it for 5 years or whatever. I think with the online space more so is there is a lot of hype around fast success. And you're right. Like I didn't make a sale for 1 year, but a lot of people don't do it for a lot longer, and so 1 year could be considered quick. I have clients come through and they make sales like so much quicker than I ever made sales, but then they still feel like they're not moving fast enough. Right? There's so much hype around fast success in the online space, and sometimes I feel like it can be, wrapped up all pretty in a nice shiny bow, sprinkled in some fairy freaking dust over there, and we really forget that it's still a business, right? Most businesses, brick and mortar businesses, don't make profit for 2 years.
Mhm.
Right? Most people understand that if you start a brick and mortar business, there's a lot of work, a lot of hours, a lot of sacrifice. And for some reason, we don't connect the dots to that with an online business. And it's still the same, right? Like if you're out there, you're building a brand, you're establishing credibility, right? You still have to go through that process. And granted, you can do it quicker, but it's still, I say this to my clients all the time. I actually just had these like little wristbands made up. I'm super excited to give it to them. They got bricks on them. We are building brick by brick, day by day, piece by piece, right? And we get so caught up looking at the end thing, which sure, keep your eye on the prize, know where you're going, absolutely, but bring it back to the process. Bring it back to, okay, how many steps ahead of yesterday am I at? How much, what wins have I had? How much have I gained over here? Did my audience grow a little bit? Did I get a bit of authority? Did I actually book some sales calls? Maybe I didn't close them, but fuck, last month I wasn't booking sales calls. Now I'm booking sales calls. It's a process, and just to bring it back and to understand that there is a bit of work, and sometimes things won't work the first time. Sometimes you need to trial and to tweak, and to refine stuff, right? And sometimes you need to be in the trenches. Sometimes take a lot of effort, a lot of work. Like if you want people, and I think sometimes, and I don't mean it in a bad way, but sometimes I don't know if we're a little bit arrogant or a little bit naive. We think people that have never heard of us before are going to step into our world and take us seriously and pay us thousands of dollars when where were we yesterday? Like
Yeah.
that, it's a little bit crazy to think that we think like that. But if we put ourselves in a buyer's shoes, we would never. Our buying behavior doesn't represent what we think the buying behavior of our audience should be. Like those dots aren't connecting there, and it's just a lot of feelings I get. Like there's a lot of feelings, there's a lot of emotions. We're holding it. We're holding the success of our business as a personal reflection of ourselves, and that's not how it works either, right? Like it is just a thing. It's a business. It's data. It's numbers. It's stats. It's marketing. It's all things that can be refined and tweaked and improved. It's not you.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you said that because, like you said, when you worked in corporate, you could do excellent. You were great at sales and you could do all these things. But I think a lot of times, I know from the clients that I've had, this is what I've seen. I can do so great for others, but why isn't it working for me? Well, first of all, because it's a business, like you said, and it's a difference between being a worker and being an owner. There is two totally different mind frames in that. And so when we go to open a business thinking I'm really great at sales, I can sell anything. Well, that's great. You can. But do you know how to run a business? And I think that that's the whole part of the strategy and marketing part of it is that we seem to miss sometimes when we're new in business or trying to. And I think that kind of wrecks our brain because we think, but I'm really good at this, but why isn't it working?
Yeah.
Do you see things like that?
For sure. I mean, I have a lot of clients that are like, my content is amazing. People will come to me and go, I'm really good at what I do. It's really valuable. It's really great, but nobody's engaging, as an example. It's like, brilliant. Your information is valuable. The mindset shifts that you're trying to help people have are significant and very valid. However, you're not communicating it in a way that makes it easy for the people to pick up what you're putting down on the other end.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to come along, right, and you saw this post from someone that you don't know and it looked like a novel, what would you do? You would scroll on past that novel because you don't know that person, you don't give an F. And so sometimes, so yeah, in that respect, I come across that sort of stuff quite a lot when it comes to that. There's something I was going to say and I totally forget what it was.
That's okay. Take your time.
It'll come back to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how long have you been doing your own business? Because I know, but they don't know from what I've read and where you were. Because the post that really drew me in is when you were like, at this point in time, I wasn't doing this, and at this point in time, and you went down this list of these years, and it came to where you are now. And so, can you kind of walk us through that a little bit, if you don't mind?
Yeah, so I think the post that you're referring to was like way before business even started, right? Like this is back in my cray days. I call them crazy days. So that would be like I'm 29 now, so I just turned 29, and so maybe 12, 13 years ago, at the age of like 17, 18 is when I was diagnosed with the bipolar and the borderline personality disorder. And you know what? I actually think this is a really good thing to go through, because people, again, it's the journey, right? Like it takes time to create anything meaningful, right? And so that back then I was butt fuck crazy. I didn't know if that's okay in this
You're fine.
environment.
This is your platform right now to let you are speaking to who you are and how you got where you are. Tell your story. This is your time to do so.
Perfect. I was a cray lady, banging head, doing all those things, right? At 17, 18. And that's when I first started working in sales. I started with an MLM because I wanted to get breast implants. I don't have them anymore. I don't know if we're on video and you can see, but there is nothing there. It is flat. But I did get them, and I got them I had to choose. So I got the implants, I made the surgery and the date and everything, and silly me, I booked it when I was meant to sit my high school certificate, my HSC exams. And so here I was, chose to go get boobs over sitting my high school certificate. Like it's a bit silly because parents are like, go to school, get good grades, go to uni, get a good job. It's the only way you're going to have a good life. And I'm like this insecure, crazy little 18-year-old girl. I'm like, but boobs, mom, I need boobs. And so that's what ended up happening. I didn't do that. And I started working in sales to get the money for that. And so I was working door-to-door sales, building up an MLM, went through a process. Anyway, eventually ended up getting fired, through crazy things. Got fired from a lot of jobs over over the next 5 or so years. Got a lot of jobs too. There was probably a 12-month period where I would have had maybe more than a job a month, more like a lot of jobs. Yeah, some jobs I got never turned up. Some jobs I went for a few hours. Some jobs I went for 2 days and then left with the keys and everything. And they're like, "Can you return them?" I'm like, "Nah." I wasn't in a very good place. Obviously, I'd learned to sell myself in these interviews, but I wasn't very good at holding down jobs. I was a bit cray still. And so I went through that for a while and started sort of healing. At one point, I went bankrupt, but started kind of healing probably just after the bankruptcy. And then at that point, finally got my first job that I kind of managed to hold down for a couple of years, which was in telesales. And I was really, really good at that. Moved through doing training for corporate and creating training systems and stuff for them. And then eventually decided I didn't want to work in corporate, and I went backpacking, went traveling, came back, and then decided to start this business. And so that would have been maybe 5 years ago or something now that I decided that I was going to start this business. And there was a good couple of years, it was a good year of not really much going on in terms of business. I was looking at websites, and I was trying to learn more, as we all do, trying to learn more to make my training, my program better. I mean, I already had 7 years experience and I was pretty freaking good at it, but I felt like I needed to learn more. So I was trying to learn more, map it all out, plan it all out. That program that I spent like a year perfecting, I never sold, by the way. I've never sold that training to anyone. And so went through all that for like a year. And then I would say for the next kind of 6 to 12 months, this is when I got serious, because I started doing I started doing like coaching and programs and courses and that kind of stuff. And so then it took me a little while before eventually I found myself in a space helping people sell high ticket services. And I found myself working with them one on one, not selling my online training that was for anyone and everyone who wanted to sell something. Um, and it took a little while before I finally made a sale. And that first sale, guys, I feel like this is really important to point out because people get really upset about like price point and charge, and you know you're charging such a small amount that you feel like, how am I ever going to grow this to being able to monetize it? My first 2 sales were $250. $250 for, I think it was like 6 weeks, and neither of them re-signed with me. So they didn't stay on after that time. And it was a little bit like of a process, slowly moving my price up with each sale and getting better at what I was doing and learning what people needed, learning where people got stuck, right? Learning that it wasn't just about giving them good training, it was about being able to help people get results, which means that you have to be able to lead people to implement. So you're learning a whole lot around connecting and leadership and that kind of stuff. And I sort of just itched them up. And after I made that first sale, it was 12 months. Like I did grow kind of quickly in that 12 months. So I went from 0 to 200,000, or just over 200,000 in just under 12 months. And so things kind of grew pretty good once I'd nailed a process to sign clients. And I was just slowly, every couple of sales, I'd just move the price up, I'd move the price up, I'd move the price up, and I just kept hustling. And now, I mean, now that same one-on-one service is like $2,000 a month. So it's, you know, it's completely transformed and changed from what it was back then. But it's a process, right? It's a process. It was step by step. It took time to go from being a crazy, crazy person 10 years ago to being someone who's healthy, happy, has a successful business, has successful clients, but I still have problems, still have challenges, still have roadblocks, right?
Yeah. So what's one important thing that you'd like to let our audience know if they are maybe thinking of starting something, maybe going through some mental challenges, or even already have something? What is something important that you'd like them to know about that process?
You need to take action. I know that this sounds really basic and really straightforward, but we just spend so much freaking time not doing things that are moving the needle forward. You need to do needle moving activities. If your goal is to get healthy, right, don't just sit on the internet reading about it all day. Go to the gym every day, right? Take that first. It's so basic. It makes sense, right? Like take those first steps. A lot of my healing process came about through me trying to get healthy. I didn't know how it was going to impact my mental health and my bipolar because I was told that was incurable. And at the time back then, nowadays there's a lot of research around physical health and mental health and the connection. Back then that research didn't exist 10 years ago. I was just trying to get healthy in general, and then I would start to see these shifts, right? A lot of the time, the clarity will come after you take the action. We're waiting around for clarity before we take action, and it's the other way around. Take the action, take the messy steps, just do the shit that seems to make sense, and do the scary, uncomfortable stuff, right? Don't do the easy shit of sitting behind the scenes and building a website for 2 freaking years. Go and try and sell your program to someone. Don't do the easy thing of sitting there trying to map it out all perfectly and pre-record everything with a fancy video camera and backdrop and stuff, and I did all that. Go and just try and sell it to someone. Try and help someone. Who cares if it's for free or if it's paid or if it's low, whatever. Just go and try and help someone, and get them some results, give them some value. And what you're going to do is, one, you're going to build your own confidence in doing that. And this is a big thing that holds a lot of people back, is it's a confidence thing, right? So how do you build confidence? Is that you do hard things. You do the hard things, you keep your promises to yourself, you do what you say you're going to do, you show up. That will help you to build confidence. The next thing it's going to do is going to give you clarity. Action precedes clarity every single time. So if you're waiting for clarity to take action, you're going to stay stuck for a long time.
Yeah. So do me one more favor. Tell people how they can contact you to work with you and to learn more about your program and what you have to offer?
Just come hang out with me on Facebook. So I have a group. If you're in the coaching space and you're wanting to sell your services, then it's called Steps to Six Figures Group. But if you're just wanting to hang out, get some inspo, mental health stuff, whatever, then just come hang with me on my page, Sarah Ann, which I'm guessing may or may not be in this group. I'll come back and check. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I thank you so much for taking the time out to come on and share your story and talk to us about Secrets to Success. Can you tell everybody where you're from?
Yeah, I'm from Australia.
All right, now look at that. This young
Australia.
lady is in Australia. I'm in Indiana. Anything is possible. With technology, we can reach people all over the world. So it doesn't matter if you don't think that there's work for you to be able to do where you are. You can reach out. There's people out there that are waiting to hear what you got to say. So how do you do it? You start with a belief that I can do better. Sarah told us that tonight. I can do better, that you can change it. What are you filling your head with? Well, if it's not good, if it's not perfect, if it's not lovely, you need to get rid of that thing. You need to go and throw it out so that you can take action. Because when you take action, it brings about clarity. And when you have clarity, you can do the hard things. You can do the hard
I
things.
need to hire you in my business.
And not only that, but you gotta make sure you keep those promises to yourself, because as you help yourself, you are also helping others. So remember, in this life, we were created with a purpose, but it's up to us to make that purpose come to life. So thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you are mindful of all the things that you've heard and know that no matter where you are, you can start. All you have to do is start. So get up and go mind your business, which is mindful intentions, nurture and drive your business. So if you're minding your business, then you're nurturing and driving your business. So be intentional, be mindful. And again, remember, you were created with a purpose. So now go be great. Thank you, Sarah, for joining us. Stay on with me while I close this out. Have a good evening. And remember, if you want to get with Sarah and learn more about her strategic marketing, or like she said, just get some inspiration, because this girl has got some really inspiring stuff. She's got a message, and we could all learn something from her. Steps to Six Figure Groups is her Facebook group. So go check her out. She's not hard to find at all. Type in Sarah, and I promise she comes up. So go check her out. And until then, I'll see you tomorrow. Well, I'll be on later on tonight, possibly doing a mindful meditation at around 10:30. But if not, I will see you tomorrow, Tuesday, and I'll have a new guest, and we will be wrapping up our season of Mind Your Business. And so I hope you've been able to see the new podcast with all the interviews that started in November. Those will run through, and we'll start doing new live interviews in January. So if you would like to be a guest, reach out to me and come on and tell your story, because I'm sure there's someone out there waiting to hear from you. Thank you, and be blessed. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.